The rising cost of food. This week's Consumer Price Index report revealing prices for groceries.
One Aldi shopper watched a single bag of coffee climb from $5 to over $8 in just a few months. At the one grocery chain that built its entire reputation on prices staying low, no matter what. Aldi is supposed to be the store inflation doesn't touch. Right now, according to shoppers, employees, and the company's own recent statements, that reputation is being tested harder than it has in years. And the reasons behind it go a lot deeper than a simple supply hiccup. Quick ask before we get into it. Subscribe so you catch the next breakdown like this one, since prices at every major chain are shifting constantly right now. Let's get into it. Aldi isn't just another grocery store dealing with inflation the way every chain is right now. It built its entire identity. Small stores, fewer product choices, almost everything under its own private label. Specifically around staying cheap no matter what was happening in the broader economy. That's exactly why millions of shoppers switched to Aldi over the last few years as prices everywhere else climbed. So when Aldi's own prices start climbing too, it hits differently than watching a name brand grocery chain raise prices, because Aldi was supposed to be the one place that didn't. A meaningful chunk of Aldi's recent price increases trace directly back to new tariffs on imported ingredients the US simply doesn't produce at scale. Cacao beans from the Ivory Coast and Ecuador being the clearest example. A 10% tariff on imported cacao has pushed chocolate prices up across the board, and Aldi's own Baker's Corner semi-sweet morsels have climbed roughly 8% as a direct result, from $3.13 up to $3.39 for a 12-ounce bag. Coffee is following a similar pattern, since the beans themselves are almost entirely imported, and any tariff or supply disruption on that side of the world shows up in Aldi's coffee aisle within a matter of months, not years. Tariffs on specific ingredients are one driver. The broader inflation numbers underneath everything are a second, bigger one. 2. Food inflation never actually stopped, even as the headlines said. It slowed. Overall inflation has genuinely cooled compared to its peak a few years back, but grocery prices specifically haven't followed that same curve down. Food prices are still up roughly 25% since the start of the pandemic. And even in the most recent reporting period, grocery prices rose close to 1% in a single month, with price increases accelerating faster than they had in each of the 2 previous years. Beef and veal prices climbed 16% year over year. Coffee prices climbed almost 20% over the same stretch. Those aren't small, forgettable numbers. They're the specific categories showing up as sticker shock in Aldi's own aisles right now, the same aisles that were supposed to be protected from exactly this kind of pressure. Broad inflation numbers are one layer. What shoppers are actually reporting seeing in real time on the shelf is where this gets more immediate. 3. Shoppers are posting receipts, and the jumps are hard to ignore. A viral Reddit thread simply titled, "Increased Prices Anyone?" pulled in comment after comment from shoppers noticing the exact same thing independently of each other. One shopper reported their regular community coffee purchase climbing from $5 to over $8 in a matter of months. Another wrote that they'd noticed Aldi prices increasing almost every single week, adding that they were still shopping there, but that it was getting harder every trip to justify. When that many shoppers are independently noticing and comparing notes on the same pattern, it stops looking like isolated sticker shock and starts looking like a real, ongoing shift. Shopper reports are one signal. What an actual Aldi employee reportedly told a customer directly is a more specific one. 4. An Aldi employee reportedly warned a shopper directly. In that same viral thread, one shopper said an Aldi employee had warned them personally that upcoming tariffs and ongoing supply chain issues could send prices even higher in the near future. The same shopper also noted unusually bare shelves at their specific location around the same time, a detail that lines up uncomfortably well with the tariff and supply chain explanation the employee reportedly gave. When frontline staff are telling customers to brace for it before it's even fully hit the shelf, that's a meaningfully different signal than shoppers simply noticing a price change after the fact. Frontline warnings are one thing. What's happening at the corporate level, an ocean away, is a much bigger piece of the puzzle most American shoppers never even hear about. 5. Aldi's own parent company is absorbing a major cost hit in the UK. Aldi's leadership has directly pointed to changes in the United Kingdom's national budget as a major driver of rising costs across the company. Specifically, an increase in national insurance contributions, the payroll tax that funds the UK's National Health Service. Those contributions rose from just under 14% to 15% on salaries above a certain threshold, directly increasing what Aldi pays in employer costs across its UK operations. The UK's own Food and Drink Federation has forecast food inflation there could reach as high as 5.7% before easing later in the year. Aldi operates as a single global company, and cost pressure that's significant on one side of the business doesn't stay perfectly contained to one country's stores. It factors into the broader financial picture shaping decisions everywhere Aldi operates, including here in the US. Overseas cost pressure is one piece most shoppers never connect to their own receipt. Aldi's own aggressive growth plans here at home are a completely different kind of pressure entirely. 6. Aldi is expanding faster than almost any other grocery chain in the country right now. Aldi announced plans to open more than 180 new US stores this year alone, spanning 31 states, including entering an entirely new state market for the first time as part of its 50th anniversary in the US. That kind of expansion requires serious capital, new distribution centers, new supply chain infrastructure, new hiring across every new market. And while Aldi has built its reputation on keeping that kind of cost off shoppers' receipts, rapid expansion on this scale is genuinely expensive to fund. It's worth noting this is happening at the exact same time shoppers are reporting rising prices, whether or not the company would frame those two facts as connected. Expansion costs are one kind of pressure. What Aldi's own internal pricing data actually shows, compared to what the company publicly claims, is where this story gets genuinely complicated. 7. Aldi says it's cutting prices on hundreds of items, but independent tracking tells a more mixed story. Aldi publicly announced it was dropping prices on more than 400 items over the summer, with some cuts as steep as 33%. That's a real, verifiable announcement. But independent price tracking data, including a dedicated tracker monitoring over 100 grocery items across multiple stores, shows prices still climbing on plenty of everyday staples at Aldi during roughly the same window. Ground beef, coffee, canned goods, sugar, even basic bath tissue, which climbed 7% in just 2 months on one commonly tracked package. Sugar specifically has crept up enough that a competing store now beats Aldi on price for a basic bag of store-brand sugar, something that would have been unthinkable at Aldi even recently. Both things are apparently true at once. Genuine cuts on some items, genuine increases on others, which makes "are prices actually going up at Aldi?" a more complicated question than either the company's press release or a single viral Reddit post fully captures on its own. A mixed pricing picture is one layer of complexity. What shoppers can actually do about any of it is the very last piece, and it's more limited here than at almost any other major chain. 8. There's no coupon workaround at Aldi, unlike almost every other major chain. Aldi doesn't offer manufacturer coupons, and it doesn't accept them either. A policy that's always been part of the store's low overhead pricing model, since processing coupons costs the store money and complexity it deliberately avoids. That's fine when prices are already rock bottom and there's nothing to offset. But when prices are climbing the way they currently are on specific staples, shoppers at Aldi genuinely don't have the same lever other grocery shoppers can pull to soften the impact. There's no clipping a coupon on rising coffee prices here. The sticker price is simply the price, whichever direction it's currently moving. The one thing worth remembering through all of this, even with every single one of these pressures stacking on top of each other at once, Aldi is still frequently coming out cheaper than the competition on a pure price per ounce basis, even on the exact items that have gotten more expensive recently. That Baker's Corner chocolate chip example from earlier, the one that jumped 8%, still landed at 28 cents an ounce, compared to 30 cents an ounce at Target's store brand and 31 cents an ounce at Walmart's. Rising is not the same as expensive, at least not yet, and it's worth keeping that distinction in mind the next time a receipt feels higher than you remember. 8 real documented reasons: tariffs, global cost pressure, aggressive expansion, and a pricing picture that's genuinely more mixed than either the headlines or a single viral post fully capture. If you've noticed your own Aldi prices creeping up on something specific, drop it in the comments. I genuinely like to know what you're seeing at your own store. Like this video, subscribe for more breakdowns like this one, and I'll see you in the next one.